How Christianity was implemented. Christians believe that Christianity came into existence as a result of Jesus Christ's teachings. But this is not the whole story. The implementation of Christianity was a very complex process, and it was done in 3 stages. A different person was responsible for each stage, and these leaders were Jesus Christ, St. Paul, and Emperor Constantine. The role of Christ was to introduce new teachings and create the foundation of new religion. The teachings of Christ were based on the Jewish holy book, the Torah, and the 10 Commandments received by Moses. However, Christ's interpretation of these laws goes much deeper than any other Jewish prophets. His approach was in a sense very revolutionary, and even now a large part of his teaching is not fully assimilated by believers. One of the most controversial teachings is the command that we should not resist people doing us a great harm. Turning the proverbial other cheek is unacceptable today as it was 2000 years ago. Even more radical is the directive to love your enemies. From all his teaching, the most important is the imperative, love your neighbor as yourself. Leo Tolstoy believed that if people follow only this commandment, other laws would be unnecessary. Christ's teachings were very revolutionary even by today's standards. Christ outlined for men the principles of conduct for thousands of years, when men should achieve higher level of consciousness. Christ lived and taught in the framework of the Jewish religion and was regarded as a Messiah announced by the Jewish prophets. After his death, his sect, led by his brother James, worked mainly among the Jews who followed the rules of the Torah. In this situation, it was unlikely that his teachings would spread throughout the Roman Empire. A new leader was needed who could spread Christ's teachings over the Roman Empire. This new leader was St. Paul. Paul was born to a Hellenistic Jewish family in present-day Turkey. He was a Roman citizen, which gave him many privileges such as legal protection and uncontrolled traveling in the whole of the empire. After his conversion on the road to Damascus in 35 AD, he started spreading the new religion, in which Christ was the central figure. St. Paul knew less about Jesus than we know today, and was not very familiar with his teachings because he had very loose contact with James and the apostles. The doctrines propagated by St. Paul did not follow the teachings of Christ. He introduced into the new religion Greek elements of death and resurrection, as in the worship of Dionysus. An image of Christ dying to redeem the sins of men was introduced for the first time by him. His teaching was based on the knowledge received during his personal apparitions of Jesus, not on the true teachings of Christ. St. Paul broke all links with the Jewish religion and the Jameses sect. His teaching was well received in Hellenistic society, and he traveled extensively, starting many Christian communities. After a couple of hundred years, the new religion became very common due to the extensive missionary work of the believers. However, the new religion had 2 hurdles on its way to become the dominant belief. First, Christians were persecuted by some emperors, and many thousands died and only the very strong remained in the church. The second problem was a lack of uniform theology, resulted in the splitting of congregations into about 80 sects. The third stage of development was to change Christianity into the state religion. Emperor Constantine the Great was the next champion of Christianity. In 313 AD, he issued an edict in Milan granting Christians right to exercise their religion. Constantine saw the church as an ally, helping him to strengthen the multi-ethnic, culturally diversified empire. He gave the church dignitaries power and financial privileges, but demanded support and obedience. His main and very important contribution to Christian theology was to make Jesus Christ equal to God the Father. In 325 AD in Nicaea, he convened the first General Council, where he intimidated bishops to accept the new doctrine. The opponents of the new doctrine were imprisoned. From this point in time began the very fast growth of Christianity. The successful introduction of Christianity depended on these three leaders and on the critical timing of their activities. Any delay in their action would jeopardize the whole program, because after the Jewish War from 67 to 70 AD, many of Christ's Jewish followers were killed, and then started the Jewish diaspora. It was a well-planned and executed program which organized by the extraterrestrial beings. Their influence is confirmed by St. Paul's vision of Christ on the road to Damascus and Constantine's vision of a cross in his dreams before his decisive battle by the Milvian Bridge.